So today we're going to be applying sound, and we're going to be applying that in a way that lets us create a design or a pattern, and we're going to equate sound to color. So we're going to start by talking a little bit about the color wheel. I've got a version of it here that's sort of the most basic version. There's a lot of fancier color wheels, but this one has sort of the 6 basic colors that we're going to be using today. And then what I've tried to do is tie those colors to sort of ideas or feelings that historically they've really been associated with. So sort of green is growth. So if you think about spring, if you think about calm waves crashing on the seashore, that's sort of blue water. And so blue is very calming. Things like yellow are associated with being happy, while orange is more excited. So we're going to play off of that and tie that to sort of the energy or the idea behind a song and try to make some colors out of that. So I've got a couple of different songs queued up. The software that I like to use for this is called Free Music Archive, and we'll certainly tie that link into the video here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start playing one of those songs, and then I'll sort of work through kind of how that plays out. So I'm going to start with this one here. It's very calming. Maybe creative. Calm would be words that I would kind of tie to that. Maybe even like a sense of sort of passion about the artwork, sort of with the intentionality behind it. Oh, some splashes of sort of excitement in there maybe too. So what I find with a lot of these songs is that it's easier to work with sort of a 3-color batch. And you'll find that based on this, you might sort of associate a handful of colors with it. So in this case, I'm looking at sort of the calm, collective, and passionate side of things. Or maybe I would do happy, excited, and passionate if I was maybe more an upbeat song. But sticking with sort of a group of 3 colors gets you sort of enough visual interest in your piece. And sort of ties in the ideas of a song. So with that figured out, let's go ahead and actually start applying some of this. So again, I'm going to use blue, purple, and red on this one here. And maybe I get in a couple of excited spots there, but really I just want to try and follow the beat of the music. This is sort of a meandering line. And I'm not really trying to create anything, but capture the feeling of that song. Maybe a little bit more blue. And you notice I've got my paper here on this whiteboard. That's in case I run over or anything. I like to protect my table. Some of these excited spots. There we go. So I always put down either some cardboard, or in this case I've got sort of a laptop table that'll protect it. You'll notice that I'm keeping a lot of these lines very horizontal. That's a more calming shape. Versus maybe diagonal would be more action oriented, trying to follow the flow of the song. Now I'm going to go ahead and pause it because I think I've got enough color down, and I want to kind of introduce the way that we take this from sort of just this really rough sketch to more of an ideal background for it. So because we use water-based markers, we can actually just take water on a brush, and you'll see it'll start to smear that. Now you'll notice that some colors are more powerful than others. And based on the amount of water that you put down on the page, you can sort of control the flow of those. So again, sometimes I'll keep the music running as I kind of work with this. I really like that orange will sort of pull in. And you can add as much water as you want, really get some of this flowing. Oh, that blue flows really well. You notice some colors are a little bit more powerful. Blue is a pretty particularly powerful color here. in that it's stronger than some of the orange and stuff. But I like when the blue and the orange run near each other. Let's see if we can get this one activated. And what this creates is sort of an underpainting that we're going to let dry, and then we'll be able to draw over top of. So we're sort of embedding the feeling of that song in this artwork. And I can pull those lines as much as I want. I can leave some blank spots on the page if I want. You'll notice that the more the water sits on there, the more that line bleeds away and becomes less defined. There. Now you'll notice this doesn't look like anything right now. I want this to really just be an abstract expression of what that song is. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do another one because I often find that I get more in the groove of this kind of stuff the more that I do. So I'm going to set this one aside. I do need to let it dry a little bit. I've got another piece of paper here. And I've got another song queued up. So already, right off the bat, you can hear it's a little bit more energetic. So I'm thinking excited for sure. Happy. Maybe some passionate, maybe those 3 brighter oranger colors. So let's get those rolling. Maybe I throw in a splash of purple of Creative Batch there. But already, with that beat, my head's bobbing. I'll go maybe some starker diagonals and this sort of meandering line. The excitement of this song really jumps out. Have some fun with this. There we go. Sort of the busyness of this piece. Maybe I'll throw in a couple of surprise pops of purple. That creativity that's going on in this piece. Alright, now I'm going to leave the music going as I go at it with the water here. And if you used a really dark color on the last piece, you might want to change out your water in between. This seems to be pretty good. Maybe I don't quite get as much water on this one. Maybe I want them to I just want to blur that yellow a little bit. Oh, caught some of the purple there. It's alright. It's kind of interesting how they flow together a little bit. And you'll see, I'm sort of holding my brush back. I don't have a lot of control over it. Sometimes people get really in there with painting. And I was holding those markers much the same way. More like a conductor holds a wand when they're conducting. Oh, I'm liking this. I'm going to go through and sort of bleed out that red a little bit. It's pretty strong if I'm not wanting it to stand out. And I'm going to just hit those purples with a dab of water each. See where they flow. Maybe pull them out just a little bit. There's no right or wrong here. You're just sort of playing around, letting those colors flow. I like this. So this has got a little bit more defined lines. Look at how much this one's moving over here. Lots of water causes that to flow a lot, and that's got a whole lot going on. Go ahead and stop that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let these dry because I'm actually going to go back and do a drawing over top of them. Alright, I have let this sound-inspired painting dry a little bit. It's got almost a landscape feel to it with the water and maybe this is like a sunrise or something. But I'm going to actually push this further into the abstract. So more about sort of layering and the experience than sort of a representational thing. I've got this shape that I cut out. It's actually a repeating shape based on a diamond. And you can see a video about how to create this also on our YouTube channel. But I really like this shape as just sort of an abstract shape, be it upside down or right side up. It plays nicely with some of the angles and some of the freeform shapes that are going on in this piece. You can see that it's got sort of a black line around it, and the way that I tend to use this is that off to the side I'll actually take a piece of charcoal and I'll sort of sketch around the edge with the piece of charcoal, and that builds up that black powder along the edge. And then what I can do is take it onto here, and maybe I want it right there. Take a tissue and sort of sweep that black powder into my composition. Now, this is, there we go. This is sort of a fun technique. One of the things that I really like about it is that it allows you to layer the imagery. It lets the painting that you did, inspired by the sound, really kind of shine through. And you can cut any shape you want out of it. You can even go so far as to sort of layer those shapes over each other and get sort of some darker values in there. So you can create a ton of depth in the image here. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and do 5 or 6 of them here. And what you'll start to see is you create a sort of a directionality of it. These sort of have an arrow type tendency. And maybe I actually flip this around and bring it back into the piece, bring the eye back into the piece. You can see I just have to sweep that powder into the center, and because of the shape of the paper, it creates that. Let's do one over here in this corner. And you know, this is purely abstract, so I'm just looking for, you know, is it fun? Is it an idea that I like? You know, I'm going to try and overlap these just a little bit, see if it darkens even more on that area. I'm sweeping towards the center, and sure enough, you can see it's a little bit darker where those two overlap. I'm going to do 2 more. And what will happen is eventually you'll build up enough powder on there that you can kind of get a double sweep out of it. There we go. And maybe there's one more right here. Yeah, we'll go kind of there. Maybe one more right there. It's missing something there. Maybe this will be a faint one. There. So what I've got is all this fun stuff going on. Maybe I can have one sort of coming off the page. And this is how it goes. I start with an idea and then I just sort of keep flowing off of it. Well, that's kind of nice. It breaks it out of sort of that square format. If it shifts, don't worry about it. Just kind of take a second, reset. And even what doesn't appear as very strong at the beginning will start to come out. Rotate your paper a little bit, maybe. I'm going to do a couple of these that are kind of going off the page. I like that it breaks it out of that rectangle shape there. And then maybe decide what's the top and what's the bottom. There we go. Or maybe even go vertical with it. I like how that changes things. So there you go. A fun way to sort of build a composition out of sound and create a really unique piece that's got sort of a lot of variety going on, but all inspired by that song. So have fun, play with it a little bit, and see where the sound takes you. Thanks for working with us.